What's going on, everybody? DeMarco Crum and Laura Mahoney here for another episode of the Strength with Purpose show. We are here to help you become your strongest selves and have a little fun along the way. Which reminds me, if you're getting value out of our videos, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, helps us grow and helps us continue to put out amazing content for you. In addition to that, if there's anything that you would like us to talk more about or something that we haven't covered that you'd like to hear about, hit us up in the comments. Feel free to mention it below. Say, hey, we'd love a video on this. And it makes it easy for us because we don't have to come up with content ideas. It's just a great way to do it. Which reminds me, there's a friend of mine who has his own fitness channel that I've been watching a bunch of his videos, and I'm actually about to message him and say, bro, give me a video on this because you're the go-to guy for me. So, but anyways, Laura, how we doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to have you here.
Always
And
happy to be here. It's a highlight of the week. I enjoy this.
exactly, it is fun. It's a great time. I mean, it's very much. It is a podcast. We're trainers. We have fitness businesses and stuff, but it's nice just to hang out, talk, and shoot the breeze and talk
Exactly.
shop. So this
Yep.
is obviously what we're super into. So, well, let's get into it. You want to talk about some fitness?
Yeah, I'm ready. I
Let's
just
do
worked
it.
out too, so I'm like extra fresh right now.
Excellent. That's great. No, you're ready to roll. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Today's topic for everyone is going to be a fun one, and I think our answers are going to be different, which again I think
Yeah.
is awesome. I wouldn't want someone on this show with me that was exactly the same as me because that's just boring. It's good to have variety, and there are multiple ways to get to your destination. And my grandmother made this reference like quoted this a while ago. She said there's many paths to the mountain, to the mountaintop, I should say, which I think is a really cool way. So I'm going to ask this question and I'm going to hand the mic over to Laura and let her
Yep.
tear it up. Laura, if one were to choose only 3 pieces of equipment for a home gym, home slash garage gym, we'll just
Yeah,
say whatever your space is,
yeah.
what would those 3 pieces be and why?
Awesome. And this is such a fun topic because I love like blowing people's minds with this of how simple it can actually be. So I actually was a vendor at a like holistic health expo this past weekend. And so I had people coming up to me asking obviously like what I do and who I help.
Yeah.
And so I told them, I help busy women restart their health and fitness journey. And there's a lot of interest in that because a lot of people tend to like quote unquote fall off the wagon over the course of time. And they asked me, well, what do I need to get started? Do I need a gym membership? Do I need barbells? Like, oh, I'm not confident anymore in my abilities. And literally everything that people needed was on my table. It really wasn't much. It wasn't heavy. It
Great.
wasn't going to break the table. And people are shocked when that's all, like, when I just pointed to those 3 things. So, that being the case, one, I really like this one, adjustable dumbbells. So I have the ones that range from 5 pounds, they go up to 52 and a half, and I have a set of them. So realistically, like I have 105 pounds of dumbbells that I can use. I don't always use those by any means, sometimes I do. However, it's so nice that you get the versatility of them. And that's why I really like them, is because you can easily swap them out. You can easily change the weights. All you have to do is put them down, crank the little dial on the ends of them, pick them up, and then you could go on to your next exercise. And I like to superset my exercises, so really it's only about 10-15 seconds between the exercises and you keep the ball going. But I'm also all about quick and efficient workouts, so that actually just makes it more efficient than switching out heavy plates or working with a barbell and working with a rack. It's nice, short, sweet, and simple. So that's one. Number two, I like the long resistance bands that have like the handles at the end. And I'm going to include this because they always come in a package with the door anchor that comes with the
Oh yeah.
package.
If
That
it's in the
counts as
same
one piece of equipment. And the same thing, it's versatile. You can adjust the weights accordingly, and you can also adjust your stance and like how close or how far you are from the anchor point.
yes.
So you can add or decrease resistance based off of where you're standing, how much weight you're using, or how much, the resistance the band has. And you can pretty much do any exercise with it. So you can have it at the top of the door. You can do lat pull downs. You can do face pulls, um, straight arm pull downs, triceps extensions. You can do all those. And then middle of the door frame, you can do chest presses. You can do standing rows. And then the bottom of the door, you can do an incline press. You face away from the door, you push up,
Yeah.
an incline press. It's super, super easy and really versatile. And then my last one, I'm debating actually now that I'm talking loud.
Let's do it.
And I'll just say it, right? Like it's beneficial to everybody to know these things anyways. So normally I would say a small like mini band. So like Perform Better
Oh
has
yeah,
packs of four for like $10 each. It's like super cheap to be able to get so much value out of it. So the mini bands are, they're what, like 6 inches wide, 8 inches wide, maybe.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and they range from like light resistance to medium resistance to heavy resistance to like extra heavy resistance.
Yeah,
So you can do this for lateral band walks. You can do them for, you could, put them around your knees and do squats with them. Um, I also like doing upper body exercises with them too. You wrap them around your wrist and do external rotations. You can do like lateral
absolutely.
plank walks and get some good
Yep.
shoulder work out of it. Tricep kickbacks. If you're holding it at your chest in one hand, you push down with the other one. Um,
Oh, I like that.
yeah,
Oh, that's
there is
cool.
a
Oh
learning
yeah.
there. You could also do like rows with them too. So you loop, the end around your foot and you hold the other end with your hand. And it's
Oh,
a lighter one because it's a little bit more elastic. You
yeah.
can really just do a bent over row. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so they're very versatile. So my fourth one is just a TRX for the same exact reason. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, I know I wanted to keep it to three, but I couldn't decide. But TRXs are really versatile. Again, you could do pretty much any exercise with them, and you could carry them and travel with them pretty much anywhere you want to go. So,
That's a pretty solid argument. So it was adjustable dumbbells, resistance bands with the handles,
exactly.
and then you said mini bands, and we'll say TRX. Four is fine. That I like
Okay,
that.
good. All of them
Technically,
except for the dumbbells you can travel with too. That's also why I really like them.
exactly. Yeah. No, no, absolutely. And I've talked to so many coaches, myself included, that have incorporated those types of movements for clients, while traveling. They're on a work trip, family trip. Like, hey, I want to still work out. What can I do? Here's a
Exactly.
band. We can do some pull aparts, face pulls, rows, all that good stuff. And
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, with the dumbbells, again, they can be adjusted to what your level is and to whatever exercise you're doing. So lower
Exactly.
body, upper body, more isolation work versus more multi joint compound movements. So that's solid.
Exactly. I love them. They're really, really helpful.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And the TRX is great. You can do so
Yeah.
much with it.
You can do so much. It's like amazing how creative you can be with it. And it's just, it's such a simple concept that happened to like develop into this like world-renowned brand. It's amazing. But for, good reason. It's popular for a good reason.
Oh, I agree. It's a solid brand. And the really cool thing about the TRX is that I have been able to use it for every single person I've ever trained. And I've gone as far as like on the one end of the spectrum as far as like the youngest person I've worked with. My daughter plays on the TRX, so I
Yeah.
guess that
So does
technically counts.
mine.
4-year-old. She likes to spin it around and almost like like when they spin the swing around and get it
Rotating
all
swings,
wound up, and
yeah.
then she does that. So she'll hang and
Oh,
spin.
so
It's actually
fun.
it's quite impressive actually.
Yeah.
And so she does that. But my youngest client I've ever had do it was a 14-year-old. It was someone that was a hockey player, and it
Mhm.
was her off season. So we were just doing strength work. So we were just doing classic TRX low rows, and great move. But then going on the other end of the spectrum, I actually had a client that was 78 and
Yeah.
was about to go in for her first total knee replacement. She was going to get a second one at some point, but she decided to do one at a time, which I think is probably wise.
Good idea. Yeah.
So but we used the TRX. She did rows, and we did that movement. We also actually did squats. We used the TRX as the counterweight, and then we were doing essentially TRX supported high box squat. So we were still squatting, but it was not adding any weight. It was just her body weight was the load, and with the TRX and with the box, and I put you remember those the
Yeah.
blue
Yeah. I was thinking
AirX
box
pad,
squats also. Yeah. For
the blue
her.
AirX pad on the plyo
Yep.
box, and with that. With
Mhm.
with that piece of equipment, we were able to do the squat and still strengthen her legs and her hips as much as
Yeah.
much as we could around the extreme serious injury, which is she was just bone on bone. I mean, it's just
Right.
she'd been very active, a lot of rollerblading, running, hiking, and it was time to go to the
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
shop
I mean, 78
for
is pretty
replacement.
good also.
Yeah,
So not too bad. But I think I like the TRX also. And we don't have to go on a full tangent about TRXs, but
I'm all good. It's all fine.
yeah, I love that they can be so safe and so secure by
Yes,
doing an exercise like that. But a lot of, the more advanced exercises really train you to work on your stability. So they can be really secure, but then you can also
exactly.
for, for more stability because they're unstable. So you can get the wide range of, muscle groups just from that one piece of equipment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite workouts I ever did with it was, the classic kind of walking push up, put the feet
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the bottoms of the handles and walk with it, do some push ups, like mountain climbers.
yeah.
I want to say it was for Pain and Gain or one of the other movies in like the late 2000s, where Mark Wahlberg was doing a bunch of TRX stuff. He was doing like pikes and
Okay.
like I said, those mountain climbers and all kinds of funky stuff. So it's Marky Mark approved. So I think the TRX is
So
solid.
we're
He
good.
approves of it, and he's obviously very dedicated
Mhm.
with his. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen some of his stuff. It's like
Yeah,
4
yeah,
a.m. insane workouts, which
yeah. It's pretty
I get
awesome.
tired just watching his videos. But no, great, solid lineup.
Yep,
Even though my list is going to be different, if I had those three pieces, I would be also solid.
yeah.
I'd be able to press, squat, do unilateral work, carries, little pump work if I wanted to, some biceps,
Mhm.
triceps. And Laura's right. With the mini bands, you've got a lot of hip stuff, you've got a lot of shoulder work you can do, and the rows and the kickbacks. That's really cool. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
store that away for later because the bands are great because they're as you get stronger, you just adjust your position to increase the
exactly.
tension.
Exactly.
So that's there's a really high ceiling for what you can do, which is great. And I see all kinds of random amazing uses for bands, like for like cues and for tools to learn other movements.
Yeah.
So solid list. I agree with you
Yeah.
100%.
That's it. And
Um,
honestly, like I never used bands until like COVID hit and I had to start working out from home. Like working in the
exactly.
gyms, I'm sure you are used to this also, or were used to this. Bands would break so easily or get stolen. So like I never
Yes,
had bands to work with when I was training clients.
I know.
Unless I brought my own, which I, rarely did, and I didn't want to carry them around, and I didn't want them to get stolen either. So it was COVID that really got me into bands and just be like learning how to be creative with them. And I think that's where people get kind of caught up too. They say it's like just this like piece of rubber. I'm gonna fling it around and it's gonna look like a snake. But once you start getting used to like the mindset of how to be creative with them, it's pretty amazing how many options there are.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And that's where, training and fitness and strength coaching and all that it's an art and a science.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
science is we learn how to do the movements, how to hinge, how to squat, how
Mhm.
to push, pull, carry, all that good stuff. The art is how do you want to do it?
Exactly.
Do you want to use a
Exactly.
band? Do you want to use something else? Do you want to use machines? There truly is value in all of the different approaches. And again, it's contextual and it's nuanced. It's where are you? What's your availability? What are your limitations?
Exactly.
So, if you have a full gym membership, bands are obviously in there, but if
Yep.
they're not there, go get on a machine, go use the
Exactly.
cable, go use the pulley. So
Mhm.
yeah, great stuff. I like that we went on this little mini tangent about bands and TRXs because I think they're both great.
Mhm.
Um, my
Course.
three options, I actually don't, I'm currently finalizing them in my head. So we're gonna have some fun and freestyle this. The first one is definitely no shocker. It's the kettlebell. I'm a huge
Mhm.
fan of the kettlebell as
Mhm.
Laura and the rest of our audience knows. It is a wonderful tool, takes up minimal equipment, takes up minimal space. And pound for pound, as far as what you pay for it, it
Yeah.
more than pays for itself over time. If you buy a good quality kettlebell, it should outlive you, unless you leave it outside to rust. But my biggest joke that I said in a blog post years ago was my kettlebells are I'm gonna put them in my will for Vivi to inherit them. When I move on to the next
Uh,
phase of existence, and I said she can use them to get strong and train herself and become even more of a super strong badass, or melt them down and use them for weapons and ammunition if we have a war against the machines. So if Skynet takes over.
love it.
But seriously, if you buy really good quality stuff, it will outlive you.
Yeah.
The kettlebell, you can work mobility, strength, you can do carries, a lot of stuff you can do
Mhm.
with dumbbells. So again, a slightly different answer here, but again, another external load that's very valuable. And the cool thing with the kettlebell is, if let's say you only have one, and you start off deadlifting it, you start off squatting it, and then you start swinging it, and then you can go into single arm swings and cleans and complexes, and then you can start snatching it, and then you can start pressing it, and then you can start bottoms up pressing it, and you can
Mhm.
start getting into other more advanced movements where that quote unquote lightweight suddenly doesn't feel so light.
Yeah.
So there's a super high ceiling for what you can do with it. So that's the reason why that would be my number one. At
Mhm.
one point, I had two different kettlebell certifications, so I'm a bit of a nerd with the bell. So yeah, so that would be my number one. My number two would be a hanging pull up bar.
I knew
I
that.
think
I
it's a
guessed it right.
wonderful piece of equipment. It's awesome. yes, you can do pull-ups, but you can also do hangs, which are really good. You can do hollow or flexed hip, flexed knee
Mm.
hangs, and we're working grip, we're working shoulder mobility, we're working core, all of that good stuff. And you can use it to rig up your bands as well if you don't have
I was
core
waiting to say that. I've definitely done
yeah.
that at home.
Yeah, so straight arm pull downs, tricep press downs, all that good stuff, and it's just great, you know. And a lot of them are set up to where you can put it up in the doorway to do your pull ups, but you can also put them at the bottom of the doorway to do dips or do elevated incline
Yeah.
push ups and
Yeah.
sit ups. Actually, some of them you can put your feet
Oh
in and do.
yeah. Oh, that's a
Yeah, and do
great
sit ups
idea.
if you want to change it up. So we can talk about sit ups one day. I've gone back and forth over the years, by the way, on
Mhm.
sit ups. It's interesting how hotly debated that exercise has been as far as
Yeah,
fitness
yeah.
goes. My third piece of equipment might surprise a lot of you, but I'm doing it. I'm going rogue. It would be the ab wheel.
Okay. I
So,
wasn't sure. It was that or the was it the hammer things you were talking about for mobility on our
oh,
last
the Indian clubs. Oh yeah, yeah.
maybe was
Oh
it the wheel
dang.
or
Now
that?
you're making me regret my choice. I'm gonna say the Indian clubs get a super wonderful honorable mention.
Cool.
But I have to commit to my answer now because we're
Yep.
recording. But so well, those are mobility training tools, so I can say
Yeah.
that they're not strength. No, I'm kidding. They
Okay.
do both, but yeah, I love the ab wheel because again, also a super scalable movement. Obviously, before you start to do the ab wheel, you need to just totally master the hollow body hold, the front plank,
Yeah.
and adding a little bit of movement like a bear crawl type movement before you even start doing a hollow body, or excuse me, an ab wheel, because it's a pretty advanced core exercise.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do anywhere near the full range of motion to get the benefits of the movement, that lumbo-pelvic control, that core activation, and locking in, really turning the body into a single unit. So yeah, that's my answer. The ab wheel is awesome, and I've been able to get a really amazing training stimulus doing it still from the knees, and I'm
Yeah.
nowhere near doing a full standing one, and I'm still just able to really light up my core.
Mhm.
Whether it's that slow tempo pauses, kind of the going at more of an 11 o'clock position, 12 o'clock, and 1, doing those different positions. So yeah, that's the ab wheel. So I said kettlebell, hanging pull-up bar,
Yeah.
and ab wheel.
Ab
And
wheel.
Indian clubs get an honorable
Yes,
mention because I
exactly.
love it. I mean, I don't even consider Indian clubs a training tool anymore, just because I have them all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just, they're just with me. They're literally on my backpack right now, so
Mhm.
I just take them out whenever I'm free and have some space. So, but yeah, those are my
Yeah.
three.
Pretty cool. It's fun how, like, as we know, or and for everyone watching, we've known each other for a long time also. We knew our training
Yeah.
styles beforehand, but it's
Mhm.
really fun to like learn more about each other by having these more in-depth conversations. Because I was trying to figure out which three you would pick, and those are the three that you've mentioned over and over and over again that you use in like all your training on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And same with me, right? I've mentioned the three to four that I use regularly enough. But it's so cool, exactly what you said. There's so many paths to the mountaintop, or I don't want to
Yeah.
disrespect your grandma, but there's so many paths to the mountaintop, and yet these are just like our preferred methods. But doesn't mean that anything is bad necessarily. It's just all so versatile, and you get to choose whatever like works for you and whatever keeps you motivated for the day.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I feel like you really put a pin on that one. I couldn't agree more. It's again the movements themselves, the mechanics,
Mhm.
really understanding tension and maintaining a position and moving under load are things that you will learn again through coaching. That's why we hire coaches, is to teach us
Yeah,
that. It's not just, oh, I want to learn how to do this skill, which yes, I
hmm
want to learn how to do a bench press or how to do a squat or something.
hmm
It's also, how do I move my body to be strong
exactly.
and to not get hurt, or to reduce risk of injury, because let's be honest, getting hurt is part of the game. It's inevitable at times. But I would take that over the other end any day.
Exactly. You
But
can get hurt by not doing anything too in
extreme
some way.
sedentary lifestyle comes with so many different
Mhm.
health problems and issues, and there's so much that happens. And I see people my age, and even some are actually a little bit younger, that look older than me, and they move like they're older than me. And they see me and they're like, oh, you must be like 25. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm 35. Like
Mhm.
I'm a little older now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
we're slowly reaching middle age, by the way.
Okay.
And then people look at me. Now, I also have ADHD, so I have so much energy already, which makes me a bit
That
of an
helps.
outlier.
Yeah.
But I'm also in shape and I train.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that's definitely a big piece there. So, but yeah, Laura, do you have anything else to add about equipment?
Not really. I feel like we covered so much of it. And again, maybe 10 years ago, I would have had a different answer, and everybody here knows
Oh,
that I love powerlifting. Like, so a barbell is,
exactly.
near and dear to my heart, but am I going to use that as my first choice? No, meaning that there's so many other ways
Yeah.
to do it. And no. I feel like that's the fun in fitness for me is being creative. And even when I'm training people, I kind of love the challenge of like not knowing exactly what to expect on a
Yeah.
daily basis. Like I would have one client for like weeks in a row. And we always joke about this now. She would be like, "Laura, I have some news for you." I'd be like, "All right, like what do we have going on this week?"
Uh-oh.
And it would just be a matter of like, fine tuning things and being creative with exactly what you said, what she had, what equipment she had, what she had available, how she can move her body that day. And it's always fun, and there's always something that we can do.
I could not agree more. And that reminded me of something. One of the skills that I've been able to cultivate over my 12, almost 13 years of coaching is exactly what you mentioned, which is being adaptable and being flexible. Because how many times, Laura, have you set up a program with specific exercises, specific set rep schemes, specific weights, and pieces of equipment, and suddenly it's taken? Someone's training with you at
Mhm.
rush hour, the busy time of the gym, or something's out of commission, a machine is broken, something's getting replaced. The ability to pivot and say, okay, we were going to do a seated cable row today, but this machine's out, or there's just 5 different people on it working it, taking turns on it. It's just going to take way too long. Let's do a resistance band row. Let's do a landmine row. Let's do a dumbbell row. Let's do a kettlebell row. That ability to make adjustments on the fly is something that you can cultivate over time in any skill, in any trade, whether you're a trainer or whatever your field is. But that's one thing that I really pride myself on having been able to do. Obviously, you as well, Laura, particularly with COVID, is if you're working with a trainer, try to work with somebody that has some life experience and somebody that has the ability to pivot and to make adjustments, because when you're too rigid in regards to a program, I would argue that can be a problem because, again, unless we're talking about professional athletes, someone training for the Olympics, someone that is in the situation where they can control that environment, like The Rock has his Iron Paradise, those are different situations. Those are outliers. For normal, everyday Joes and Janes like us, I would challenge you, and challenge, if you have a trainer, challenge them to be a little bit more flexible and
Yes,
focus less on the exercises and on the pieces of equipment and more on the movements and what we're trying to accomplish.
exactly. Yep. I would watch trainers just like sit and wait with their clients for machines or
Dude,
squat
yeah,
racks to open up. And I hated watching that as like their boss. And to each their own with what they want to do in their training style and what the client's like. If the client wanted to squat with a bar, like I'm not going to tell them to do something else, obviously. But
yeah,
if I was a client and I had to wait for something that wasn't available and I was paying my money to do this, I would be so pissed off. So
exactly.
there's so many ways to do exercises, so many ways to be creative with it, and um, exactly what you said, be versatile and
Yeah.
have fun with it.
Yeah, be resilient and adaptable. But I will say you've had these clients as well, Laura, where some people do like specific
Yeah,
exercises and they're
yep,
actually
and it's
fine waiting for
totally
it. And then
fine.
then
Exactly.
we'll do some movement prep, we'll do some mobility, we'll do
Yeah.
something. We'll do some, you know what I mean? We'll because I'm the same way, I don't think every single session has to last a whole hour by any means,
No.
but I want the client to get the most value
Yeah.
possible out of the time, right? It's to me, it's all about value. We both talk
Exactly.
about this all the time. It's all
Yeah.
about serving the client, delivering like, superior, amazing value as much
Mhm.
as we can. But hey, I had clients that they only wanted to use a certain barbell and they were
Perfectly
happy to
fine.
wait for it. And
Yep.
I said, okay, dude,
Yep.
all good. Like I had a client that they wanted to use one of the trap bars. He did not
Yeah.
like the Gronk one. You remember those Gronk ones that had the fat
Yeah.
handles on them?
Yeah.
He hated it. I loved it because it challenged your grip, but he hated that bar. So
Mhm.
he would wait for the one that was in our back private training room for it to
Yeah.
be open, and almost everybody was using it because people
Yeah.
love trap bar deadlifts, people
Love
love
it.
carries.
Exactly.
And I would just say, all right, dude, we're gonna do just core stuff. We're gonna do this. We're gonna come back to it when we can. So they're not to say not like I'm trying to call coaches out,
Yeah,
because again,
yeah,
it's personal training for a reason. We're
exactly,
personalizing it to the
exactly.
person, to their goals, to their limitations, all that good
Yep,
stuff. So,
yep.
Laura, this was great. I think this was wonderful, wonderful value that we have delivered. So
Yeah.
Laura, give me your three pieces one more time.
Adjustable dumbbells, the long bands with like the handles and the door anchor. You can
Yep,
buy them on Amazon for like 20 bucks also.
exactly.
And mini bands and or TRX, depending on the day.
Perfect. Honorable. Yeah, for the fourth.
Yep,
You ask me this tomorrow, I may have a different answer. So
exactly.
it's, I totally can relate. My three were kettlebell, hanging pull-up bar, and the ab wheel, with my honorable mention being Indian clubs, because I'm just completely obsessed with them and love them so much. So anyways, I want to thank all of you so much for tuning in with us. We hope you got a tremendous amount of value out of this. Notice how we're talking about the same stuff over and over again. We want to deliver value. We want to help you become your strongest selves and have some fun along the way. And we hope that we have accomplished that with you today. If you got value out of this, please hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Help us with those YouTube algorithms. Help us become YouTube superstars like Mr. Beast. It'll take a while, but we can maybe we can catch up
Get
with him
there.
in
We can get
50 years.
there. Tomorrow.
So, but thank you all so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.